Hi, this is Tracy from Crystal Reiki Wellness, and today I would like to talk to you a little bit about my life before and after finding Reiki. And in the year before I found Reiki, I was struggling to heal myself from the effects of 2 abusive marriages, and I was also trying to cope with worsening symptoms from fibromyalgia. I had gotten to the point where emotionally I was grasping for anything to keep me going. I felt like a failure. I felt unlovable. I felt like the only thing I was good for was I felt like I existed for the men in my life to take their anger out on. Like that was my purpose in life, was to help them relieve stress by hurting me. I knew logically that this wasn't right, but emotionally it's how I felt. Physically, I was pretty much completely disabled. I spent most of my days lying in the fetal position. I spent a lot of time crying. My feet hurt so bad, I didn't want to leave bed in the morning. I had to get that I would put on before I could step down onto the floor. Walking across the room made me cry. I had pain throughout both legs, my arms. My skin hurt constantly. It was either a creepy crawly feeling or a pins and needles feeling all day, every day. I was very sensitive to noise. Sound would give me a headache. It felt like a physical attack. Certain sounds were worse than others. Unfortunately, my children playing was the worst sound for me. Their screeching, their laughter, even when they weren't playing, the whining, the crying, it was the noise of my kids that really hurt me the most. And I hated myself for it, but I had to every day, no, remember, mommy's not feeling good today. You have to stay quiet. Or I'm hurting today. You can't touch me. You can't jump on me. I can't play with you. It's a bad day. Just be quiet and don't touch. And what kind of child wants to be quiet all the time and can't touch their parents? My kids were miserable. I was miserable. I felt like I was failing them. I was failing myself. And I knew I had to do something to pull myself up. I was convinced that I was going to live in that pain for the rest of my life. But I still had to be a mother. I still had to take care of my kids. And so I think any step in the right direction will make things better. It'll be better for them. It'll show them that I'm trying, that I'm working. It'll give me something to focus on other than the pain. And so it was little things here and there. My first goal had been to learn to deal with my codependency issues, to learn to detach and to protect myself and set up better boundaries so that I would not end up in another abusive relationship. I watched a whole lot of YouTube videos about codependency and how to deal with it. And, during the course of watching these videos, the suggestions would come up on the side of the page of the next videos you should watch, related things. And I got one that was a self-love video by Kellyanne Maddox came up. And I clicked on it not knowing who she was. It just sounded like a good thing for me at the time. I watched the video, but then other videos of hers came up and I realized she was a spiritual guide and tarot card reader. I started watching some of her tarot videos and a few about how to learn to read tarot yourself. And kind of got back into this. It was something I'd been interested in when I was young. My mom had a deck of tarot cards that I was always fascinated with, but it never really been my thing. But I did decide to go buy a deck and play around with this, and one day I discovered that there was a tarot readers course on universalclass.com, and that I could take it free of charge with my library membership. So I took the tarot course, and I enjoyed it, and it's a hobby for me. It's still not something I consider myself proficient at, but I did really enjoy it. And at the end of the course, there was suggestions for other classes that you can take through Universal Class. And one of those classes was Reiki healing. I read about it. I went to the class, read the description, saw what it was, and was immediately interested. When I was a young child, I always thought that somehow I could heal with my hands. I'd try to heal my cats, my friends. I'd try to heal myself when I got hurt, and I was just convinced if I practiced enough, I can do this. But eventually I gave up and thought that was my imagination, grow up and let go of that sort of thing. So, sorry about that. I've got notifications going off. Right, so I decided I would go ahead and take this class and see where it would lead. I figured it might be interesting to learn how to do this, and I was very skeptical, but I thought the class could be fun at the very least, and there was always that possibility that it was legit and that I could learn to do something to help myself emotionally and physically, to heal through everything I'd been through. So I went through the course. I took it. I was still really skeptical at the end and after my first attunement. But as I worked through the 21 days of self-healing after my first attunement, I realized that my physical health was improving quite a bit. It wasn't something spectacular. I didn't lay my hands on myself and suddenly have no pain. But I realized after the first couple of days that the skin condition wasn't as bad. The tingling, the creepy crawly feeling that was always one of the worst feelings to me. That kind of like bugs under your skin. You're young, like you want to crawl out of your own skin type feeling. It was awful. And that was the first thing I noticed went. After that was the sounds became easier to deal with. Even now, after practicing for a few years, I will still have days that I'm very sensitive to certain noises and sounds, but they're much fewer and further between. I mean, this was daily before. It was a daily struggle with my kids to keep quiet. You're hurting me. You're physically hurting me. I know you're not trying to, but it hurts. Please stop. And I never say that to them anymore. There are days I have to turn the TV down because a pitch of somebody on the TV is hurting me, or I'll go into another room because they're being noisy and it's getting to me. And that's enough. I'll go in the other room, I'll give myself Reiki, and that's enough for me to be able to manage it. I never have to tell them to be quiet to deal with my pain anymore. And that's great. I never have to tell them not to touch me anymore. That was another thing that went fairly quick along with the skin condition. It made being touched uncomfortable. So I was able to stop telling them, no, you can't climb on me today. No, I can't hug you too tight today. I started giving them these little hugs where I was barely putting my arms around them and just tapping them on the back a little bit. And I'm finally able to really squeeze them again. And it's been amazing. That was amazing. And that all happened with Reiki 1. It was a great experience. I decided to go forward. I took the Reiki 2 class also. And Reiki 2 really brings you into a stronger connection, mental and emotional connection with Reiki. And it deepens your ability to heal on an emotional level. And after I started really working on that, that huge breakthroughs for me. I was able to set boundaries, set those boundaries I'd been learning about in those original YouTube videos that I had started watching. I was able to actually set them. I was able to get certain people out of my life that had no business being there. I got a lot of toxicity out and gone. I learned to have confidence, and eventually I started learning self-love, which was amazing to me. It was new. It's still sometimes blows my mind when I realize I don't need anyone else. I love myself. I don't need to get that from other people. I can make my own choices. I can take care of myself. I can do what's best for myself. And it's great to have people in my life who love me. Everybody needs people who love them, but I don't need their love to function. I don't need someone else's love to be okay, because I have enough of my own. And I credit Reiki 2 with that. I decided to go on to become a Reiki master, and that is when I discovered abundance and co-creation and possibilities. I began to open up to all kinds of metaphysical ideas and teachings, and I felt drawn to everything spiritual. Suddenly just opened up and glowed and spoke to me and shined and called to me, and the Reiki continued to call to me, and I felt moved to share all of this with everybody. And I went from somebody who was living off of disability and planning on being on disability my entire life and not able to get out of bed, and now I'm somebody who has a business and a mission and a desire and hope and plans and dreams, and it all happened because of Reiki. It opened this for me. It showed me that I can be a leader, that I can be confident, that I can have abundance. And abundance is not just financial. I do have financial abundance. I don't have to watch my money. I go shopping, I buy what I want. I don't check my bank account first. I know everything's going to be in there. I know it's okay. I have all of my bills set to auto pay now. At one point, I would never ever have done that. I would have been terrified that I was overdrawn. There are so many things that have changed in my life, and I just know I would not be here. I would not have opened myself up to these possibilities if I hadn't taken that first class. This is where I'm supposed to be. I know with all my heart and soul I'm supposed to be here. I'm supposed to be treating people with Reiki, giving them Reiki sessions, helping them to heal themselves naturally. I am supposed to be teaching it to them. I'm supposed to be guiding them spiritually. I'm supposed to share everything that I know, everything that I've learned, and I can't wait to do it. I can't wait to meet all of you, to reach you, to teach you, to tell you what I know. And so if I resonate with you, please like on this video and subscribe. And if you would like to join my group on Facebook, it is Crystal Reiki Wellness, and I would love to see you there. My website is www.crystalreikiwellness.com. I hope you enjoyed this video and will continue to learn more about Reiki and find out if it could possibly help you in the same ways that it has helped me. Thank you, and love and light.